This is the officers' quarters. Now, before I get into my little spiel here, I want to share something with you that to me is really important and very special to me, and that is, if you ever want to have an experience where you actually get to see something that's similar to what they would have seen, it's right here when you look out that doorway. Because this fort was built using 3 lines of evidence: the archaeological, which shows where things were in the ground, then the archival data that came from the British archives, and then the architect's drawings. And that was used to base the reconstruction. The buildings are on the original footprints. Now, the thing that's really, come on in. What's really interesting about this is that an individual who has greater computer expertise and more time on his hands than I did took all 3 of those map sets, digitized them to the same scale, superimposed them, and they're exactly identical. So if we were to hold a seance and bring George Washington here and bring him up and say, Mr. Washington, is that what you saw when you looked out this door? Because this is one of the quarters where he would have stayed. He would say yes. So you're getting to see something that they would have at that time. But anyways, this was used as the officers' quarters, and what I have it set up here today is to show you how many, in many instances, how this fort was actually laid out, how roads were laid out, and you, as concerned citizens eager to form a new way of life on the frontier, are now coming in the wake of the army along the newly cut roads to buy land out here, and I will lay it out for you. I will survey it for you. And to do that, we're going to look at the instrumentation that was used. This is where it all began. This is a surveyor's circumference. It's basically a large compass that has sighting vanes on it. All right, this is an original. It was made in 1750 by a gentleman by the name of Fowler in England, and it was 8 years old when this fort was actually being built. And you know something? It still works today. It works better today than my 2007 Koifel and Esser total base station, which is electronic and just sucks up battery life, and I get very little work out in the field. But anyways, so this is what you would use to go and get your bearing. You always need to know which direction, okay? And it's magnetic, obviously, when it operates on magnetic north. They were aware of magnetic deviation at that time period, and they were actually plotting it as well. So they were able to compensate for it. Now, the next thing that you need to know, particularly if you're going to lay out land, or you're going to go and lay out a fort, or you're going to build a road, you need to know how far it is from point A to point B. So this is our beginning point. We want to take our bearing. I want to run a line. I want to find out how far it is to the middle of the Bedford Gate there. So we're going to measure that using this instrument here. This is a surveyor's chain. Now, when you look at this, this was used in the United States up until the 1970s. And in the Forest Service today, if you're going to, when they go to sell off tracts of timber for harvesting purposes, they will actually pull chain to measure out the compartment size instead of using optical instruments, because the chains are easier to use for that purpose. Now, the way this came about, I'm sure you all remember in school having to deal with fractions. Oh, we all love fractions, all right? Particularly when you're dealing with base 12, 16ths, and 18ths, and whatnot, an inch that you can get down to, and how to convert back and forth. This actually led to a tremendous amount of land disputes in England. So a gentleman by the name of Gunter, who was a mathematician, devised a way to go and actually figure this out. He took a length that was 66 feet. And you have to wonder why 66 feet? Because if I were to multiply 66 by 80, I'm going to get 5,280 feet, which is 1 mile. And that length of 66 feet being divided into 100 lengths, that is 1/800th of a mile right there. So now we've gone from having to worry about a fractional system to now dealing with a decimal system. Life has suddenly taken a turn for the good, and has solved a tremendous amount of property disputes. Now, this chain, the way we would use this, I want to find the distance from here to the Bedford Gate. So this is my beginning point. I'm going to have a team of 3 people. I'll have a rear chainman, a lead chainman, I'm going to have a rodman. The rodman actually is just he has the easiest job of all. He just has to stand down there and hold the point. That's the point that you are going to be pulling the chain towards. So you're gonna be my rear chain person, so I will give you the end of the chain, and this is all hypothetical, you don't have to come on. And you're gonna hold it down underneath here, all right? You're gonna be my lead chainman, okay? So I have my rear, my lead chainman. Now, I'm gonna give, since you are the lead chainman, you get the other end of the chain, and you get these. These are called surveyor's arrows, or pins. They're actually tally points. Because what you're going to do is, I'm gonna say, now you're gonna go towards the rodman, all right? So you're out there, you're moving along, pulling the train along the ground there. When you get to the end, all right, you're not trying to pull it up in the air, you're just pulling it along the ground. You're going to drop one of these pins, okay? Then you, my rear chainman, you're going to pick up your point here, and you're going to go to where he put that pin down. And you're going to put your end where that pin is. You're going to continue going out forward again, and you reach the end, you put down another pin. Okay? You understand how we're doing this?
What?
So every time that you move up to where he was, you're going to pick up that pin. So at the end, you have now gone all the way to the gate, to where the rodman's standing. And you being the rear chainman, you are going to say 3 pins. But you're saying, wait a minute, we're not exactly, it wasn't a full length there. We had 28 links. Yes, you did. So 3, you holler back and say 3 outs, or 3 complete chain lengths, 28 links. 3.28, 328 links from there to there. Easy. That's how they were doing a lot of the math. Now, you say, okay, well, that's really good. You see all those distances. What do you have to go compute angles? What do you have to do trigonometry and whatnot? Which I really enjoyed all that. It was actually easier to a certain extent the way they did than the way we do, because I can do everything you can do on your cell phone. Everything. And more with this and this. A pair of dividers in my Gunter scale. Now Gunter was the English mathematician who developed that chain. He also realized that there you can have a proportional distance, a proportional relationship between logarithms. And logarithms are numbers associated with each number that if you add 2 logarithms together, you're multiplying. If you subtract them, you're dividing. Life suddenly got really easy right there. Because all you had to do to be a surveyor was to, quote, quote, be able to cipher, which was to count to 10. Because if you could count to 10, you could subtract. And to divide, you subtracted. To multiply, you added, using these. So, now, what I'm going to do here, using the scale of numbers, these are different numbers on here. If I want to figure out what, I'm laying here, I want to draw out the angle for one of the bastions. I'll say I need that, do I want that at a 60 degree or do I want it at a 40 degree? I can actually do that, do the calculations here by simply, let's see, where is it? There's my line of chords. I want a 30-degree angle right there. So put that, you have to kind of envision now the paper's in front of you. So I'm going to put my mark here and put a mark here, and where they intersect, there's my angle, right off the point. So, but I want to do some multiplication. So we're going to do a really high-powered one. Are you up for some math? Ah, come on. Will you accept the king's shilling? Okay, come here. Hold on. Would you cooperate with me? I'm not going to force you. Okay, there you go. There's a brave one. All right, now, what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to multiply. Okay? Now, what's one thing you notice from the distance from here to here compared to the distance from here to here?
Small. I'm sorry.
It's okay. That's all right, Dad. We'll take care of it. They get smaller as they go this direction, right? Okay, now I want you to look at something. I'm going to multiply 2 by 3. So here is the distance for 2. Now on the same scale, what I'm going to do, I want to slide my right arm of my divider down to the number I want to multiply that lengthwise. So there's 3. And what number is it on right now?
6.
6. And 3 times 2 is? 6, right, there we go. And you can do all sorts of very complicated mathematics with this. On here there are lines of the numbers that also are ROM lines. So if I wanted to go and plot a course, navigate a course around the globe, since you're dealing with a spherical object, I can actually use a ROM line and I can actually plot my course out on that spherical object using this. I can calculate the distance from the moon to the earth with this instrument right here. And I can actually use it to draw a straight line with. And I challenge you to have for you to take out your cell phone, put it on a piece of paper, say, "Now draw me a line." Go on, do it. But this is the technology that they used during that time period. And so it's the forerunner of everything that we have today. There's no difference. The only thing is that we use a different power source for it. We use electricity instead of our own muscle memory, so to speak. But this is how they would actually go and do very complex mathematical formulations and calculations, such as how to build a fortification, lay out land, how to determine what the force of ground and earth would be on a particular structure. So, do you have any questions?